Okay, I'm just on with, I'm putting a viscous fan, the viscous fan back on, I've decided. I've played about with, I mentioned I put the twin fans on and showed you that, and it's generally okay, but if I leave it ticking over for a good 15 minutes or so, it seems to get a little bit hotter than I'd like. I've got a couple of theories on that. I think it's either, I'm not 100% sure the thermostat I've put on is working correctly. Before I put it in, I did put it in boiling water and I couldn't get it to open. But I just assumed it was because it was new and whatever. Probably a mistake, really. So I've got a genuine Porsche one coming. It's like 40 quid, double the price. But I'm going to put that thermostat, because sometimes it seems fine, and sometimes it seems to get a bit warmer than I'd like. The other day when I was in traffic, the fans came on, and it was sort of, I had it here ticking over as well, and the fans came on and stayed on for quite a while. It didn't get too hot, but the fans stayed on, which I didn't like. So I figured I'll keep them two fans on, put them on the other side, make them pusher fans to blow through the radiator, and put the viscous back on, because I've still got the bit, I hadn't sold the remnants. So I've got this one from 911 Design. It's about 200 and odd quid, something like that. And to be fair, if you hold that and try and turn the shaft, it's quite stiff, pretty stiff to turn. You struggle. Whereas this one, you can. And I reckoned when it was hot, this one wasn't locking up. It seemed to, when you turned it off when it was hot as well, it seemed to keep spinning. So I figured, well, if I put that on and leave the fans on as well, and then see what it does then, and put this newer thermostat in. Obviously this new one, I am going to test it in boiling water. And when I take the old one out, I'm going to test it. Because if it's not opening until it gets to sort of 100 degrees, the car was getting up to like just over, nearly 100 at some of the time, then you could find that it's basically only just opening, and the fans are kicking in and the fans are controlling it. But if it's only just opening, then it's not going to open any more because the fans have come on, but then it's not going to be cooling enough because it's not getting enough water around the rad. So it kind of fighting against itself. I think that might be what I've got going on, because I don't think there's any other issue with it. When you're driving along, it does seem to cool down a little bit, which would tell you that something is going through the rad, but I don't think enough. I think it's intermittent, and I think it was probably a mistake to put that thermostat in, because I have friends who've had faulty thermostats, 2 in a row, brand new ones. I mean, it was a Gates's one I put in, but I figure I'm going to test this before I strip it down. I'm going to test this Porsche one that comes, and if that opens when I put it in boiling water, then it's doing more than the one I've put in is, which is normally, it's not a scientific test, but they're meant to open at 87 or something like that, I think, something like that, or something like that. So it should open if you put it in boiling water, basically. As far as stripping this down, I mean, you can see them spacers I mentioned before when I was, I had silly bits of tube that were all different lengths. So I've made these spacers which go in a certain order to sit it so it's at the right angle. Basically just a case of, obviously this pulley is on the end of there. So basically I'll show you how it goes. Make it a bit simpler for you. So it wasn't difficult. So that sort of sits on there. Then the pulley goes on. The pulley is on a little key. A little key there. That took a bit of chiseling. You basically just knock it in at the bottom, it flips that way, and then you can knock it down, it pops out. And then basically just lever that and hold that and tap that with a nut most of the way down, and it seemed to come off. It's a bit of a job getting it out the bearings. Basically I just put the nut on there and give it a good smack, and it's popped out okay. The bearings felt okay. It felt like it was spinning. There was no obvious noises or anything. So I don't know. I mean, this one, look, I can sort of just turn it, whereas this one I can't. So I'm assuming that means, I mean, that's a repro one. It's not a genuine Porsche one, but it should be okay. If it ain't, it'll be going back, but it should be okay. 911 Design are pretty decent people. Bought quite a lot of them. And then these bolts basically go through there and hold it onto the viscous, sort of that way, like that. I will put some Loctite on them. They've got like spring washers, but I will put Loctite on them, probably on that nut as well. But yeah, so I'm gonna put that back on. Just gonna get that put together tonight. I'm waiting for some new, the sort of ties you get that go through the rad, to put them aftermarket rads on. I've got bought a new set of them because I want to cut the ones that are on it and put it. I don't want to reuse them. I want to put the fans on the front of the radiator and turn the polarity around so they're pushers, so they're blowing air through. So then I can put the original viscous back on the back, and do it that way. I've still got the old belt, the longer belt. So I'm hoping that will sort out my problems. Well, it's not really a problem, to be fair. It's just, I'm just a bit concerned if I did get stuck in really busy, heavy traffic for a long time, I wouldn't want it to be running at near 100 all the time, which maybe it should. I mean, I've read up on it, and a lot of people say, oh, it can be between sort of 90 odd and 102, 103, which is kind of what it's getting up to. It seems to hover between middle 90s and 100, just over 100. I am working off sort of aftermarket gauge, that extra gauge that I've put in, that one I showed you on the other video. But I am also going off my infrared heat gun that I borrowed off my friend, and the temperatures on the left hand side of the rad and the right hand side, and the left hand side was getting just over 100, near 100. The right hand side was sort of dipping between sort of 100 and sort of down to 95, and then back up again when the fan has gone off. But at one point the fans seemed to stay on a little bit, so I kind of thought, well, maybe those fans aren't quite up to the job of doing it on their own. They have got the right amount of CFM, because I did work that out on the table. But you know, when you buy an aftermarket, they make claims, don't they? And I think the later ones that don't have the viscous, they have two fans, but one of them comes on earlier. So one of them probably preempts it getting hot and sort of keeps it cooler. So that probably gives you a bit more time, because the engine's not at that, doesn't get up to that, whereas mine gets up to that and they both come on. I could wire them on both on different switches, but I don't really want to do that. I figure, well, if I put those two fans on, they're bigger and better than the single fan that was on there, and I put the viscous back on. The beauty of the viscous is, when the engine's warm, it will still be doing something. You know, even if you're in traffic, before the fans come on, it'll probably still be doing something as well. So it made me, hopefully what it'll mean is that the fans don't come on unless it's been sat ticking over for quite a long time. I don't think there's anything else major wrong with it, but I'm a bit suspect about the thermostat, because the other week I had it running with this thermostat that's in it now, and it didn't seem to get anywhere near 100 with the infrared gun. It seemed to be hovering between sort of highish 90s, and so then going back down to 92, 93, and then up, and the fans were coming off and on, and it seemed quite happy. But then other times it seems to do different stuff, so I don't think I've got any air in it anymore, because I bled it and drove it quite a bit. So I think what I'm going to do is, like I say, change that thermostat, put this viscous on, and then see what it does then. I mean, I might even wire myself in a little panic switch for the fans, just in case. But then again, to be fair, if I need to switch the fans on, I think it's getting too hot, they'll come on anyway. They come on at the right temperature, at 80 odd, I think they come on at, and then go off at 90 odd, they're meant to. No, come on at 90 something and go off at 80 something, that's what they're meant to do. So yeah, that's my job for tonight. One other job I've got to do is I put, where are we? I bought these from VW Heritage, because I do VWs, and they list it as the same. It is a repro one, but I put this 3-pin brake light switch we mentioned before. Normally they have a bit of redness, a bit of like a sealer or something on the thread. This hasn't. The other one's gone on and worked, but I noticed it had dropped a bit of fluid, and it was coming out it sort of goes this way, it was coming out the connector. And I thought, oh, it's leaking out of here, or I thought the reservoir was leaking, because I've been knocking it when I've been doing it, the seals on the reservoir. But I cleaned it all off, and then I've come back to it the other night and looked at the top of this surface. You can just see the top of this, and I put like a little scraper in there, and there was fluid in there, so I think it's coming down the thread, which is unusual, because it's plenty tight enough. So it may be that this isn't made perfectly well or whatever, but it's a decent, well, they're all going to be the same. They're all made in China probably, unless you buy a genuine one for 50 quid, which I'm not going to do. So I'm probably going to take that one, the one that's off it, just in case there's a damaged thread on it or something, and put some PTFE tape around this one, and then wang this one in and see what it does then. If it doesn't work then I may end up having to take the master cylinder off and see what's going on with it, but don't really want to have to do that, because then I've got to bleed everything and then other things can snap. But that's a job for tomorrow. Been doing a bit of painting today, so I can't sort of get it in at the moment because my paint's drying. So, but yeah, so well, they weren't that expensive, but that's another job for another day. Just going to get the viscous done now. I've ordered ball joints. Where's my track rod things? Let me see if I can show you the track rod things. And some track rods. Where are we? Got my steering gaiters. The steering. So there. Yeah. What they list it as? What year do they list it as? Yeah, 76 to 88. Yeah. And then I've got two of these. So that's the inner sort of part. So that's your outer track rod, and then that's the bit. That's where your boot goes on, and that's the ball socket on the end, and then that screws into the rack. And it's got like a it's got like a spanner surface, and you just tighten them up. That's the one that's got the play in. The track rod ends are okay, but to be fair, the track rod ends are well rusty. I don't think they're ever going to come undone, and one of the track rods is bent. So I'm going to put these on and grease them all up, because at some point I'll probably get the tracking done. I'm going to measure the old ones when I put them on. Yeah, I'll just give you the part number. Yeah, so it must change 85, 86, something like that. So I've got the ball joints and them to do, so that hopefully should make the steering. Yeah, that's the old fan that I took off. It's quite big, but I don't think it's as powerful as my two smaller ones I put on. So this is my pile of stuff I bought that didn't fit or haven't used or was wrong. Getting kind of bigger. So yeah, that's a job for another day. Like I said, I did the reversing light switch the other day. What else did I want to do? There's not too much else to do then before I start using it a bit more. Just at the handbrake up, that's a bit better now. I just didn't want to drive it anymore. And seeing how bad that ball joint was, I shouldn't really have gone home in it that night really. I don't want to drive it anymore then. The more I read up on it, people say they pop out. Hoping the camber adjusters, the little triangle things, I'll do a video of that when I do it. Hopefully they're reusable and they come undone okay and stuff. I'm not going to touch them until I've got the ball joints here. So that's another job. But yeah, I kind of decided with a viscous fan, I was being a bit of a cheapskate trying to get rid of it and put the two fans on, which should work, but I'm thinking, do you know what, let's put it back to original, and if it's got two fans on, it's a bit better, and it's going to work a bit better. They're the rear shockers I bought, second-hand ones, which are not as rusty as mine, and I'm hoping they'll be a bit better. At the moment, I don't really want to spend the money on the inserts, on the shockers, the internal shocker bits, because they're bloody 100 and odd quid a piece. Like, there's 600 quid for 4 shockers. I'm debating whether to put coilovers, but I know plenty of people have got. I've had coilovers on Golfs before, and they're just too hard. I don't want it to be hard. I just want it to not be a bit less bouncy. So yeah, that's it for tonight. A bit of a few waffling on a little bit about what I'm doing, but I hope you're enjoying the vids, and you know, hopefully by the end of this week, once I've done all the mechanical stuff, I'll be using it every day. I'm just going to plan to use it every day. I've done about 70-80 miles in it so far, and it seems pretty good. And I'm going to get the emissions checked soon as well, because it does seem quite good on fuel, and it seems to run pretty sweetly. I've got a warm-up regulator rebuild kit as well, which I think I'm going to put on. So I'll do a video of that when I get that, just to sort of tick all the boxes basically. Right, if you're enjoying the vids, subscribe, give me some likes, tell me what you think. See you next time.